Hello, welcome to the first episode of the Acid Drop podcast, where I'm just going to get on mostly musicians probably, but I guess anyone else that could be relevant to talk to and sort of the whole Acid Drop thing. So you got to bear with for sort of the audio for these first four. This one I'm a bit too quiet. I was like trying to figure out the best way to record stuff. From the ones, the next few, I sort of sorted it out, and there might be one, I don't know, I'm backlogging these for now, so you just have to bear with. But come like fifth episode, all the audio will be good now because I've kind of figured out my way to do it. So yeah, thank you, enjoy. This week I had Paul from Desolated. Hello, Paul. How are you doing?
I'm all right, mate.
You're
I'm
all
very
right?
well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. It's big boy stuff right here, a little Desolated. So you were just raging at your game before you come on. What were you playing?
I was actually playing Fortnite.
You're still obsessed with Fortnite.
I wouldn't go. I don't know if I'm obsessed, but it's just one of the games that I like to play.
Yeah, I used to play the fuck
you
out
re-
of Fortnite.
Yeah, just run around and you shoot people,
Yeah, and then you die, and then you won.
and then you die. Yeah, and that's the end of it.
You been playing anything else recently, or just the Fortnite?
No, I did start like a Lord of the Rings game,
Oh,
and I did have Just Cause 4 downloading as well.
Just Cause is a great series.
Hmm.
I remember
I
Just
think
Cause 2 was the classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good.
I think I remember playing the first one a little bit on Xbox, but
Yeah.
yeah, I've not really paid much attention to the series.
No, me either. To be fair, like I just used to play the shit out of Just Cause 2 when I was younger. I remember that.
Yeah,
So, I'm trying to think how long I have known you. I guess known you properly since Upsurge last year.
yeah.
But we met like just being at
We
shows,
can
of
talk
course,
about Upsurge.
in Southampton. Yeah, we got something to talk about with Upsurge, don't we? Do you want to explain that scenario?
Um, Upsurge.
So this was
Great weekend.
last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, great weekend. So yeah, big shout out to Eddie for putting together.
I want to get him on here at some point. He's great.
Very good dude. Known him for a number of years, and yeah, just during the weekend, there's a guy came up to the merch, was talking to me, said he was going back to Southampton, which worked really well for me. So I gave him a free T-shirt for a lift home, and that was the last I saw him.
Yeah, he just
So
fucked off. Just left you stranded
yeah,
pretty much in
yeah,
London.
it's like
And you had
shit
what?
as
Did you
well.
have like a flight to catch the next day as well?
Oh shit, yes I did.
Yeah,
What was I going with? I think I was going to Finland, wasn't I, or something like that.
somewhere. Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. You
so I
literally just
also
dipped.
left, or I thought I'd left. Maybe it was like the whole stress of like there was like the adrenaline was coming off of the show, or the stress of how the fuck am I going to get home, and I thought my passport was in a different van, so
Yeah, I remember you because
it wasn't.
you hit me up and you were like, by chance, are you going back to Southampton?
Yeah,
And I was like,
you
I
know,
am indeed.
really desperate when I was just like shit. I'm just going to go on my timeline because I knew there was a few people from like the area.
Yeah,
Just like seeing you and like seeing people in the crowd or whatever talking at merch, I thought, oh, there's a chance that maybe some of them are still going back tonight. And I think weirdly enough, your was the first one to pop up.
yeah,
You had your nose busted. Sorry.
yeah. Shout out Malevolence. That was so funny as well because we were scrambling at the van and like everyone's kind of like panicking because you're freaking out, like Josh and all that, and then I'm just stood there like just covered in blood, like yeah, sick. But then was it in your bag the whole time, like in your suitcase the
Yeah,
whole time?
yeah. It was in a pocket that I just didn't check.
Yes.
So I put it in a secret pocket that I'd forgotten myself.
And
So
we just had New Cross crackheads harassing us while we're trying to get like back and forth.
oh god, what was that about?
That was strange, wasn't it? Like they kept like people just kept coming up to us and being like do you have a cigarette? But it happened so like consistently that there was something definitely going on there.
Oh, yeah,
Definitely
cigarette
just trying to
code.
cigarette mugging.
Yeah, and probably just to see if we'd like take something out of our pockets or something. Maybe I don't.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
it was just so consistent that it kept happening.
but yeah, if you're the person in question that agreed to take me home from Southampton is going to be absolutely no shout out. Fuck you.
Yeah, absolute big fuck you energy right there. It's like
Asshole.
if they just let you know or something and
Yeah. Yeah.
sorted it out. But no, they just fucking dipped. See ya.
Never saw them again.
Awful, absolutely awful. But no, it was good. Good drive home. Chat.
Yes,
I
yeah.
asked you like a million questions.
We'll have to go over those questions again, aren't we?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's how it's gonna go. And I'm trying to think as well. And I think I was. So you had the Desolated split, didn't you? The breakup.
Yeah.
Because this was one of the first shows in England, wasn't it? I want to say.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't the first. We did a return show at Manchester,
Right.
and yeah,
Yeah.
obviously had the Easy Money tour.
Hmm.
And, oh no, that was later, wasn't it? Sorry, getting myself mixed up again. Yeah, so we were going to do Upsurge as like a return gig for people in the south
Yeah.
because they couldn't be bothered to go up to Manchester, and then obviously had Manchester for everyone from the north.
Yeah, because I remember I was like, so it'd been like quite a few months since you had got back together, and I was thinking, I can't believe they haven't played Southampton yet. So I was like, so I remember that was one of the first things I asked you. I was like, why have you not played Southampton yet?
Mm.
And you were like, no one's booked us.
Yeah, well, that and I think we felt that Upsurge with the name that it is would have been like such a good show.
Yeah, it was solid as well. It was a great show.
Yeah, really good weekend. And yeah, I think we'd have felt that if we'd ended up doing like a Southampton show, like maybe it would have been like a little bit too much, like in the south.
Right. I mean, you're going to get more people out in London anyway, just in general, aren't you?
Yeah, it gave it more of yeah, it made it a really good night.
Yeah, and then that brought onto a topic. You were like, oh, I'm going to book one myself there. And I was like, sick. I was like, who's the lineup then? You told me lineup, and you're like, yeah, I think I'm getting a local band as well. And I was like, well. So I managed to blag you to get us to open for it.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it was the least I could do, considering you helped me out big time. So
yeah, well,
you know,
we appreciate that greatly as well. And it's funny as well. The guy that was driving us back, he's now in the band as well.
oh really?
Yeah, he's joined us on second guitar now, and he was
sweet.
He was filming that show.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, and then there was the whole dilemma of that show came about, and then classic clumsy me, I fell up the stairs, and really fucked my foot up, and I was just like, oh yeah, I'll sleep it off.
Yes, you were.
Yeah. I was crutching about, wasn't I? I was like, yeah, I'll sleep it off. It'll be fine. Go to bed, and I'll wake up, and I'm like, that is still fucked. So I went to hospital, and they were like, yeah, we'll give you like your scans just to see what's going on, and then if we need to do anything, you might be waiting here a bit. And I was just like, I don't know about that. So they did this. Yeah, I've got fucking show to play of Desolated, come on. so I keep in mind I could not walk whatsoever. He was like, my foot was fucked. I did the scans, and they're like, yeah, so you've dislocated 2 of your toes and like chipped / broken a bone inside of your foot. And
Brilliant.
I was like, what are you going to do about that then? And they're like, well, we're going to have to snap your toes back into place. And then, like, throughout the day, it'll feel a lot better. You'll like be able to start walking and stuff. And then they're like, we could cast a foot, but we're gonna have to like look closer into it. And then as soon as they snapped my toes, I just fucked off. I left. I wasn't waiting. Just jumped in the car and went straight to Southampton. And I just remember getting out of the car and just feeling so fucking stupid, just on my crutches, like dragging the stool out.
They're normally on crutches on the way out, not on the way in.
Yeah, right. And I think you just played Germany the night before.
Would that be Return to Strength? No.
Yeah, I think it was.
No, because I remember I went to Finland after Return to Strength.
Oh, I don't know what it was then, but I'm pretty sure you played Germany the night before.
No, we played Belgium. We played Clockfest.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, Clockfest the night before.
And I remember when you got there, you just fucking stunk of alcohol and just tore sweat. Like you could,
one night in Belgium.
Yeah, one night in Belgium, the Desolated aura just came in. I mean, that's just Andy, as Andy always though, isn't it? Really, so. I
Andy.
I got tattooed by fucking. Do you know Will Thompson?
Yeah.
I
Oh
got
no, sorry, I don't
no,
know.
he's quite tight with the Grove Street lot.
Yeah.
I got tattooed by him the other day, and he was like, "Oh, do you know Grove Street?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I do actually." And then, and he just the first thing he said was, "Andy fucking stinks, doesn't he?"
Andy, if you're listening to this, please have a
Yeah,
shower.
Andy, this is the calling for you to have a shower right now.
Bless him.
That was an interesting show though, the one we played. Like in terms of like your shows, it was pretty dead, wasn't it? Like you managed to like sell, but I don't know, it just didn't feel as intense.
I guess maybe following like Upsurge and stuff. I think as well, like the time obviously we last played there. I think we'd oversold the show by about 70 or 80 tickets.
Right.
So it was just like rammed.
Yeah, literally. So in comparison, it doesn't look as
Well, I think as well with Southampton, the scene itself, it's always been like a bit up and down.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I ain't been like around for that long. I've only been going since like 2016, but I've noticed that even between that, like the spikes
Yeah.
of going up and down. Like
I mean,
around that time, it was pretty because I had my show a few weeks before, and that was fucking dead as well. But it was a great show, but just numbers wise, not many people coming out.
very much Southampton. Like I feel, I can't remember what we did on that one. I think we did about 150, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. It's something along those lines. It certainly wasn't quite sold out.
Yeah.
But yeah, either way, it was a good night.
Yeah,
but you
I
get
had a
show.
lot of fun.
No, you do.
Yeah,
you do
yeah.
get
Everyone can't be packed in insane, you know. There was still a fight. There was still a fight. So
it was a fight. Yeah.
sticking to Desolated tradition. I think I've seen you 4 times, and every time there has been a fight.
Well, maybe when you come to the 5th, you're putting pressure on us. It's going to be another fight for the 5th time.
I'll just start a fight if there isn't one. So.
Look.
I think my favourite thing when there's a fight as well is what Rich says. Like he always comes out with something funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's in some ways it kind of sucks because it does draw attention. Like we're all there to have fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Heavy things get a bit like wild, but it's just one of those things. Like if you get someone close to the pit, maybe it doesn't quite understand it or takes it a bit personally. You know, it takes the attention away from, you know what I mean, the band playing and everyone else.
Just a bad energy in it for like the minute.
Yeah,
it's happening.
Yeah. So you know, if you are going to come to shows and scrap, take it outside.
Yeah, literally. Essentially, it's usually like Rich taking the piss, and you're just like, take it outside. Come on. Oh, well, yeah, that was good. What was the lineup on that? It was you. So it was you, Revulsion. And that was just before they dropped their album, wasn't it?
Yeah. Again, a band I'd been trying to get down this way for forever. Go back with Andy Bruce, years when he was playing drums in Trial and Error. So, yeah, like
they're Scottish, aren't they? Are they Scottish?
Yeah. One of the best bands I think in the UK for me.
Yeah, they were really good live energy.
And yeah, it was cool to have them part of the bill.
Yeah, it was definitely like that's another big name that like we were grateful enough, like happy to play with, you know.
Yeah. Well, they've never played South before.
Oh, really?
Aside from, well, they've done some London shows. I always like to keep London London's its own thing compared to a lot of the country for me.
Right.
So yeah, they've done like I think Bristol the night before, and it was a first time from down that way. But Revulsion a lot of the time it's normally obviously Scotland and like the north of England.
Yeah.
But
no, they're really cool though.
It's Scotland in general. Like, I mean, I know Manchester's got a good scene within England, but like the Scottish scene, like Glasgow, it's just consistently producing like really good bands.
Shout Revolve are one of my favourite
bands.
I
was about to say, Revolve, you know, another band from that way as well. So
they're actually one of my favourites.
You know, before that, obviously you had like the Trial and Error, you had Heavy Hands, you had By My Hands. So it's just been so many bands that have come out of out of Scotland.
Yeah, it's good there. I want to play Scotland. So that's something I want to play. It's a big
Yeah,
thing.
I would recommend it. I would recommend.
It's a peak thing about like the timing of how like Lengd have been doing stuff, because we've only been around since like last year, and we were really fortunate like with our reception and getting booked and stuff. And then like the second it's going well, it's just fucked. Corona, COVID, see ya.
Yeah, it has sadly fucked like I think everything up for a lot of
Everyone,
bands.
for everyone.
Yeah. But you got to make the best of it, you know.
Yeah, we still managed to get our shit out.
Shows will come back, and
They will.
you know, I think they'll hopefully be a lot stronger than they were before.
Yeah, I mean, I think hopefully it isn't just a short term thing, but I feel like people are always like more people are going to come out, because like having to deal with not being able to do that. It's like, it's just all the more incentive to be grateful when we can.
Yeah,
Hopefully that'll
yeah,
last.
no, yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So, another question. When you first broke up, that's when you started or joined. Was it Climate of Fear?
Yeah, yeah. So regarding like how that whole thing happened was, I mean, no, I was talking to like some of the boys there, like regarding joining on vocals much before we officially we sort of disbanded Desolated.
Right. Okay.
And without going into too much details, like like the general vibe of Desolated at the time was, we'd been doing it a long time. There's a lot of kind of like political bullshit going on, and it can kind of like suck the fun out of it a little bit when if you've got like labels or management or all that other crap going on. Especially when you're not quite at that point where you're earning like a full-time wage out of it.
Right. Of course.
Because we were playing and touring a lot, and I think as well with Desolated around that time is that it felt like we were in Germany more than we were in the UK half the time.
Yeah.
So it does take away a little bit from the show, because it's like, oh, Desolated are playing, and you're like, oh, I've seen them 2-3 months ago, like I know they'll be back in another 2 or 3 months. So
yeah,
and I think this is definitely something I would encourage a lot of bands. It's just that you've almost got to be quite picky and choosy about where you play. So yeah, I've with the whole Desolated disbanding, I pretty much hit the road straight away almost. It didn't quite hit me, I think, like it did the other boys, because I was still out there playing shows and dropping records, and all the other crap like around it. So but yeah, inevitably, we all missed it. And then it's like, oh, just rip this riff, and, you're talking like friends again, which is cool, because this is the problem, like being in a band. Like a lot of the time, it's you lose friendships or whatever over being in a band. It's stupid. It's such a thing to fall out over.
Yeah, tensions build and shit. Or spending like that much time compressed with each other.
Yeah. But ultimately your friends first, band second. And I've got the riffs. Suddenly, like, everyone's talking again. That riff becomes a song. That song becomes an EP, and then it's like, you know what? Let's just come back and do it like how we used to do it, and not oversaturate ourselves as such. But
Smash the Return as well.
Thank you. Yeah,
shit.
But play the shows we want to play. There's no pressure. The only pressure we have is what we put on ourselves. So, and that's how it should be.
Yeah, 100%. So you were already working on Climate of Fear before it actually disbanded.
Yeah. So we can't quite remember if we dropped the EP prior to. No, I think we'd officially announced that we weren't gonna be a band anymore, and then I think the EP came out a few months after that, the first Climate of Fear EP. But then again, like straight away, we were like getting our heads down and working on the on the album at the time. So it was play shows, and then right, let's start working straight away on first record.
Yeah. And that, I remember I went to the first Climate show. That was really good as well. Was that with the one with High Power?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, High Power is smashing it now too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they've always been a good band.
Yeah.
And them boys have always
they've
like
been around as well, haven't they? Like.
Yeah. Well, they've been on the scene for a long time.
Yeah.
Like they've played in like numerous other bands. For my sins, I can't quite remember them off the top of my head, but if you've played enough in the north, you're familiar with them, like being around and that. So
yeah, they're proper sick.
Yeah, good band.
So then you're no longer in Climate. What happened there?
Mate, it was just personalities. I think again, going back to what I said earlier, like what kind of sucks most about being in a band is that you fall out and over like the most absolutely trivial bullshit.
Yeah.
Things were said. I wasn't for me, so I stepped away. And yeah, sort of like left them to it really. Kind of sucks really. It would be nice if we could live in a world where, people could talk and, to themselves or whatever, but
right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just trivial. Trivial.
It's really fair enough, isn't it? Like something you're not comfortable being happy with, like just step away from it.
I wasn't. Some things got said. I wasn't happy about it. In hindsight, there was probably a bit of a clash of personalities within the band. It was never going to really work. So with both of us in it, so I didn't feel like that happy about it at the time. So, if I'm not happy doing something, I won't do it.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's what happened there, really.
So what's going on with Desolated now then? You're writing, aren't you? Like writing, recording?
Yes, as I hope a lot of other bands are as well, making the most of this sort of downtime.
Yeah.
Desolated are writing at the moment.
Full release?
Yeah, well, once again, we're not putting the only pressure we're putting on is ourselves. So yeah, we have spoken about it being a full length. Whether that ends up being 8 solid songs or whether that ends up being 10 solid songs.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to get something out. Feel like minimum 8 songs anyway for next year. But again, we're not. If it ends up being, I'd rather put out, or we as a band would rather put out, every song being a banner rather than sort of going, oh, we need to put like another 2 songs and just coming up a bit fast or.
Yeah, I feel that. It was like with the length out EP, it was like we didn't have a time restriction technically, but it felt like we did just because we really wanted to get something out there. But I'm still really happy with how it all turned out. But it's like now we're working on our full length. It's like we can take as long as we want. We don't really need to worry about stuff like that. We can make sure it's perfect.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
You've got tons of shit out, so you can take your time.
To a degree, yeah, you can. I mean, you can always grow as a band until you're like Black Sabbath, who are like, the penultimate.
Yeah.
Top,
the GOAT.
Yeah. God. So yeah, you can always better yourself.
So with the release for that, are you going to try and line it up for when shows are back, or are you just going to get it out when it's sort of ready to be out there?
I mean, could anyone tell you when shows are going to come back? It seems to change every 5 seconds, doesn't it?
Yeah,
so
literally.
I think more the cases that we feel like give it at least another 12 months to play it safe. That's not a looking into a crystal ball, but even if shows were to come back around, let's say hypothetically like March, how confident realistically are people going to feel going back to shows?
Yeah, it's going to be so strange, isn't it? It's like what, mic grabs? Is that going to be a thing still?
Well, things like that might take a bit of time. Feel uneasy being in a 200 cap room with no social distancing going on, that might be a thing.
It sounds surreal to even think about it now, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It makes you think as well of like how unhygienic shows actually were.
yeah.
Fucking grim.
Yeah.
Another thing I saw raised a lot was like people talking about like house microphones and like vocalists using their own microphones, and that makes so much sense. It's like, why would you want to use the microphone that someone like 5 bands that are probably ill and on tour have been using?
Yeah. I mean, I like to bring my own mic for that reason.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of doing that. There's plenty of times where I've been really ill on tour, and I couldn't tell you if it was because I've picked that up off another microphone or whatnot. So
Yeah, it was just something I never thought about, and then when I saw it raised, I was like, oh shit, that makes like perfect sense. Like,
yeah,
so weird.
Yeah.
It's even weird practicing now because like so the practice room we go to, they have to put like these like little masks on the microphones.
Really?
Yeah, like they like obviously like reuse them and throw them away. Well, not reuse them. Sorry, throw them away so they're not reused. But it's just so weird. It's not. I'm not used to it.
A bit odd. You think that you just maybe you could bring like some antibacterial wipes or something?
Yeah, right.
Phones.
Oh, that's funny.
What they've got like the mask that everyone's wearing around a microphone.
No, it's like a little like fabricy cover sort of thing, and they put that over it.
Oh, okay.
And then
okay.
you throw that away when you're done.
Yeah.
It makes sense. It's just strange.
Yeah, that's a bit odd, isn't it?
So
I guess if that's what we've got to do and get through.
I'll do anything. So if the microphones need little condoms, they can have little condoms. Yeah. So before taking it out completely here, but I remember you were saying when we were driving back that time, you were like saying that you've been like sort of in like the self-sustaining business for like doing music, like you've done like van stuff as well.
Yeah. So for God knows how many years, I was doing all sorts. I was repping on behalf of promoters for all sorts of different shows. I'd have soul shows, rock shows, pop shows, hip hop shows, funk shows, drum and bass shows, all sorts.
Everything.
And then along the side of that, I was also running a backline hire company as well as a van hire.
Right.
Nothing like it wasn't like on a big scale. It was very like small sort of setup, but it helped boost a bit of income.
Yeah, right.
On top of that, also responsible for making sure enough of marketing in the form of posters and flyers, etc., were sent out.
Mm-hmm.
Or getting organizing like kids or like people come out at the end of a show and stuff, and there's people handing them flyers.
Yeah.
I was doing sort of all sorts.
All those little hustles.
Yeah.
It's basically what I do as well. Just like trying to find something.
But luckily, for years while I was doing that, I always said I'd get my badge, and never did.
Right.
But it was when that was starting to come to an end where I was like, I need to do something. So I got myself badged. So I went and did a bit more event security.
Mm-hmm.
I was still doing like some repping. I'd sold the backline and I'd sold the van. So I was just doing like the odd bit of repping and mainly security.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened.
Yeah.
And
killed it off.
Killed all the events off. So I'm lucky. I've got another job in security for the meantime, but also taking the opportunity to sort of learn a few new skills and stuff and come out of this a little bit better.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I mean, it's what you got to do, isn't it? A time like this.
Yeah.
And you mentioned as well, like you've always been interested in getting into tattooing, and you've been drawing for ages.
Oh yeah. Well, funny story was before Desolated. That's what I was doing. I was an apprentice tattoo artist in Southampton.
Oh, right, I see.
I wasn't originally from the city, so I pretty much moved here. Basically, just found like the right artist that I wanted to learn from. Begged them for probably about a year. Like every time I was in town, just pop by and just be like, "Hey, like, can I apprentice for you? Can I apprentice for you?" He had an apprentice at the time, but I still wanted to do it.
Right.
And then yeah, eventually got a chance. I remember, weird. This is going back like, I mean, I was like what, 19 at the time, 18, 19. So going back some years now.
You're right.
And I remember the geezers just saying like it was between me and another guy. And I think after my first day, he was like, "You've got the job." He's like, "You're too good." I've always been quite good with talking to people. So he was like, the whole place was cleaned in the morning. Like shit was getting drawn up.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a pretty crazy 5 years of my life.
Oh, you did 5 years as well.
Probably just a bit under that. Hang
Yeah.
on. What was it? 18, 19 I started. Yeah, it would have been actually. It would have maybe before. I think it was 23. We ended up having a bit of a fallout. He wasn't so well in the head, and
Right.
yeah, drugs and whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically, Desolated is sort of in its very early, like starting up or whatever. Music had always been my first love,
Hmm.
and now it's my second. So yeah, it was something that I wanted to sort of bring back, and again, was doing quite well at the start of the year. I think I tattooed like 10 or so people. Then we lost we lost the flat. We had to move out of the flat that we were living in. And then since then we've moved to like 3 or 4 different other properties throughout the year. So it's been crazy.
So
Crazy.
you still drawing now when you've got time and stuff?
Yeah. No, when I've got time, it seems like a petty excuse, but I've only just really started sort of again picking it back up after where I was at the start of the year.
Yeah.
But we're just living out of boxes for most of this year.
Yeah. No, yeah, I'm still gonna get you the tattoo mix. We're talking about that as well.
Okay, all right.
We'll do it.
Deal.
We'll do it. Remember you started drawing it up as well.
God, yes, I did. I need to find that sketchbook, mate, because I think we still got a few bits in boxes here, but I've got about
it's laid about
90.
somewhere.
Yeah, I've got about 90% of it like out of boxes. So yeah, okay, deal.
Yeah, deal. We'll get it done. So you in like Southampton now, like based still? Because I remember you were in like Winchester area, weren't you, before?
Yeah, I lived in Winchester for about a year, and then I've just moved. It's like a small sort of suburb, like between Winchester and Southampton.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So
Makes sense.
yeah, not far from Eastleigh, but yeah, sort of between Winchester and Southampton. Yeah, it's nice. It's quieter, and I'm between the two cities that the majority of the work come in. So it's cool.
Yeah, and hopefully you don't have to move again this year.
Never moving again.
Never, just ever.
Ever again.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, like even moving just to uni was a bit stressful, so I can imagine like having to move like everything as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awful.
Like 4 times. So yeah.
Oh, right, you mentioned as well that was during when Desolated was starting. So you've been going since 2007, is it? Like, well, that was the first release, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Like, what was going before that? Like, how long were you actually in the writing process before the release?
I mean, we started writing pretty much as soon as we hit it off. But we had something as a band. I mean, it was terrible, but as a band, we had something recorded on like Richie's. He had like this recording software or whatever. Like before I'd even met any of the original boys, it all kind of started with me and him getting like really, really heavily drunk on cider one night around his house. We'd practiced a few times before because I was still playing guitar at that time. But yeah, I'd always sort of fancied myself to do vocals. But yeah, we got absolutely smashed one night, and we got like a bunch of like Morbid Angel, like various other death metal bands, like CDs, basically took their song titles, split it in half, like just mixed and matched the words, and that was the first song. I recorded it, woke up in the morning with a terrible headache, and yeah, the mic was still in the middle of the room. We listened to it back, and yeah, I just remember him looking around, being like, "Man, do you want to do the vocals?" And I was like,
Yeah, yeah,
"Yeah,
sorted.
yeah, all right." But yeah,
Nice.
he'd sort of had programmed drums. Uh, he'd done the bass and the guitar. I think some of the other guys had done that. So, but yeah, the only person I knew was Richie. So
And then you two are the only original members now, aren't you?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, the classics. We've had Andy since 2014, is it?
yeah. Andy was doing it for a few years. He came in just to sort of help us out, uh, and then because we were playing as a four piece for a number of years. I
Right.
remember us doing that's like a Christmas tour with Nasty.
Yeah.
Uh, Dan couldn't make it for some reason, so yeah, Andy filled in. But we were like umming and ahhing about going back to as a five piece, and then yeah,
Yeah, it just made sense.
Andy went on there. Countless drummers.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, we didn't have a drummer for like 3 years. I think two
Now
or
you got
three
now
years.
you got Big Malev Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie behind the kit. It's not the first time he has also filled in for us
Yeah.
as well, but yeah, it just feels right.
I mean, hasn't everyone in Malevolence filled in at one point?
I don't think Con has,
Okay. So
but
I think I've seen videos of like Alex filling in.
yeah, Alex filled in. Well, when I going back some years, I had my jaw broken.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only tour Slayer the Malevolence have ever done. It was like the second night in Southampton, and yeah, I got my jaw broke.
Yeah. Wasn't it like
Um,
right at the start as well of the
uh,
show?
no, no, God, no, not at the start of the show. It was just coming towards the end
Oh,
of
okay.
Malevolence. Yeah, I used to. There was a song on like one of their first EPs that I guested on.
Right.
So I'd gone out, done the guest, dived into the crowd. I think like a fight kicked off behind me or something. So I just remember like looking behind, and then as I went back to look at the stage, someone was jumping off with a pair of Timberlands. So
Oh,
yeah, a pair of Timberlands met my jaw, and that was the end of that.
Jesus Christ.
But I did the show.
Yeah, as I say, yeah, you played the whole set, didn't you? Did you realize it was like fucked, or did you
Yeah,
like? Oh, okay, you knew it was fucked. Oh, that's
I heard I
yeah,
heard the blood. I had all the blood coming down me, and I think it was our friend Luke. Was he was like next to me in the crowd after I'd like jumped in, and I just remember how white his face went. He just he's like
oh,
up, and I was like, oh, this is bad. Like
oh.
mentally, you just start thinking to yourself, yeah, this is bad.
I'm shocked you're
But
even conscious like after that.
no, God no, God no, got to get on with it. So
Yeah.
show my on.
Oh, so then
But,
with Nervous filling in all that, was that? I'm guessing that was like way after you kind of established the MLV stuff, or was that during like the
mm,
like how did that come about?
well, it came about with just us all getting like smashed in a room together and laughing at like our names being combined, and then
just the most simplest of things, just malevolated.
yeah, then we started putting it on merch. But to be honest, since then it started out as a laugh for sure. But that we've obviously done the festival, and now there's a label and stuff, so it just seemed
Yeah,
like the natural thing to use. But um, yeah, yeah, it basically started as we were up in Sheffield. I can't remember if we'd played Sheff that night or Leeds, because quite regularly when we were up that way, we just used to go and hang out with Malev afterwards anyway. So
yeah,
yeah, and then we were just all laughing about our names being combined. I can't remember who came up with the idea of we should put it on the back of a t-shirt, but whoever said it was, yeah, a genius.
yeah, yeah, absolute genius.
Yeah, and then yeah, then it started. Yeah, then we started like Malevolated. Yeah,
Yeah, now you're just both
now we
smashing
have,
it, smashing
yeah,
it.
now we got it tattooed on our skins.
That's sick. That's sick. So
Yeah, that's like the best way to make things start. You know, just get friendly with other bands and stuff.
oh yeah, that's the way. That is the way to do it. Like you're not going to get anywhere not being friendly.
Yeah, and then just start something up, because especially what I mean, like for a lot of bands, like I remember when we were struggling to get shows for so many years. Like we were regularly putting on shows. First of all, actually at the Angel Pub in Southampton.
Right.
That was actually where we first started playing shows, because we couldn't even get shows at, like the Joiners, for example.
Okay.
When we first started, there was like another metal band in the city that was always getting the gigs, like any metal lineup.
Yeah. To be there.
Sometimes if there were like two lineups, two metal bands or like two pretty decent tours, it seemed like they were always getting the opening slot.
Right.
So we took it upon ourselves and we're like, right, we need to establish ourselves in our city. So started putting on shows at the Angel. We did. Yeah, had some crazy nights down there. There's definitely a few boys from London I know, if they're going to listen to this, will have a smile on their face on some of the nights we had. We had
some chaos going on, is it?
Oh my god, yeah. There was a night down there. What killed it was what we got banned from there. I believe we still are as well, but we had a night down there where it was a versus between us and another sort of Southampton band. We were kind of coming to the end of our set, and it was like one of them old Western. You got to picture one of those old Western movies where people are getting thrown through the windows. People are, there's bottles of whatever going around. I'm pretty sure people were doing drugs off the bar.
Amazing.
Like, this room must have fitted no more than 100 people. We must have 150, 200 people. It was just complete carnage. People climbing on people. And I just remember the police turning up while we were playing. I remember a policewoman getting assaulted. A guy I knew ended up stealing her hat. Like, it was complete carnage out there.
They just had no control over what was going on.
No. It was that kind of whole like sort of MySpace era of music. So a lot of like the kind of metal crowd that were coming down were clashing with the sort of like more like the scene kids is what the name they were given. Yeah, so it was just complete.
What kind of year was this, roughly?
Goodness me, like, well, it would have been around 2007. It would have been like 06, 07.
Oh, okay.
No, I think it would have been 07. Yeah, 07.
So it was proper just that birth of corruption music as well.
I don't even think we'd released that, actually.
Oh, okay.
We might have had like a couple of songs that eventually made it onto that record, but
yeah,
it was crazy. We ended up walking out pretty much scot-free, but there was like two police vans, a few police cars. They were just trying to search everyone, but there was just too many people coming out. So
that does sound crazy. So you had that, the broken jaw. What else we got? Another one funny one. We mentioned that fucking guy cutting a pentagram into himself.
I mean, one of the great things about touring is that you meet a lot of people. And on this occasion, we were playing in Italy with Jesus Peace, and
sick band.
Yeah, I think it was actually one of their first European shows that they had come over. It was like one of their first European tours.
Yeah.
Might have got it wrong, I don't know, but yeah, really good night, and it was a really cool show. But yeah, while we were playing, someone did choose to spend that time carving a pentagram into their chests right in front of the stage.
Yeah, and then someone took the knife, right, and he whipped out a lighter and just started burning the pentagram into himself.
Yes, yeah, that.
What the fuck?
Then, but he was doing it on the guitar. I think he was doing it on Andy or Richie's side. So I wasn't really paying attention because, like, I don't know. Generally, when I'm playing a show, I'm normally keeping like my eyes. You see things go on in the pit,
yeah.
But looking towards the back of the room. So yeah, when it was actually happening, I didn't clock that. It seems like a bit of a mental thing to do at a show, but each their own.
A bit of a mental thing.
I probably wouldn't choose to do that. So yeah, the guy came up at the merch table afterwards, and yeah, he was very excitable. He was really excited about what he'd done, and then explained what he'd done like to me. He was just like, yeah, you guys
Yeah.
mean so much. I started like, I wanted to carve like, your logo into my chest, and I
Oh
was
my
like,
god.
yeah.
What did you even say to him? Were you just like, thanks, man?
Um, I think I recommended he do something else other than carve into his skin.
Wise words. Maybe don't do that.
But thank you for being a fan, but
Yeah.
we don't encourage that. You
He's
don't
gonna,
need to
he's
do
gonna be
that.
sat here listening to us.
Yeah. So again, thanks for being a fan, but you don't need to carve pentagrams into your chest, mate.
No, yeah. I've got a throwback story as well. I
You-
believe, was it somebody fucked their arm up and then found out they actually had cancer in it? Was it?
Oh God. Yes, this is going again back.
Yeah, I got them.
Well-
I got that research in.
Oh, you have, yeah. Playing. Oh, what was that for? Cellarfest
Right.
up in Doncaster. It was one of the first Cellarfest. Like our friend Ben Spencer,
Oh yeah.
like
Is that the Desolator right there?
yeah, the one that got nicknamed the Desolator.
Yeah.
So he used to put on shows up in like Doncaster, and yeah, he just put this fest on like Cellarfest, and yeah, I got a friend of ours. Yeah, whilst he was in the pit, he got smacked so hard, which forced him to go to hospital.
Right.
Sort of a few days later, because just wasn't sort of shaking it off. They found cancer, quite an aggressive cancer. But it was really cool that he didn't lose his life. They had to amputate his arm. I remember seeing him, like catching up with him in, I think it was like one of the last. It might have actually been the last Ghost Fest.
Right.
Before that stopped being a thing. Yeah, he was just telling me about it. He taught himself how to play Xbox with one hand.
Oh, that's crazy, isn't it?
But yeah, like just the optimism. Like he kept himself positive. He was laughing about it.
He cracked on.
Yeah. Because again, you wouldn't wish, 17, 18 years old, having to stare death in the face, finding out you've got an aggressive cancer in you. You wouldn't wish that on him. So, yeah, still went to shows, still moshed.
What a legend.
What a legend.
What
yeah.
a fucking legend.
Yeah, that's the sort of people you need in the world.
So you got anything other mental stories off the top of your head that you can think of? I'm sure there's plenty. Have you ever had anything a bit sketchy? Like, I guess the pentagram guy was a bit sketchy, but I was talking to Matt from Gassed Up, and he was saying about they had like almost a van broken into while they were in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, well, we've played in some pretty sketchy places.
Oh wait, funny story actually. That was the MLV van as well. They were borrowing the MLV van.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
Where were they playing?
France, I think it was, something like that.
And what, they heard someone trying to break in?
Yeah, so they could hear some weird noises, and they were like, I think they were mostly asleep, but one of them was up, and he was like, I think I hear some guys, and then they looked, and there was two guys like trying to get in.
Bloody hell, what'd they do?
They just basically told them to fuck off. There was like 6 of them, and 2 of them like.
Okay, now. Yeah, you got to be careful. You've got to.
If you want to hear that, people listening, if you want to hear that story more in depth, listen to the Gassed Up podcast when that's out. Yeah, go plug that on.
Yeah, yeah, you've got to have your head screwed on, definitely. Any sketchy stories? Yeah, loads.
Loads.
Played Cleveland. I think it was the first time when we played Cleveland and saw
Is that America?
a gun. Yeah,
Right.
and saw a gun pulled in the pit.
Amazing.
It was around Halloween, so like quite a lot of the audience had come like dressed up.
Right.
So you had like, I think you had like Spider-Man there. The promoter was dressed as Deadpool. Yeah, you had, like Princess Peach or whatever. You had all sorts of people dressed like come in, and then a massive fight kicked off. To be honest, kind of added to the sort of comedy value.
Right, of course. Everyone's in Halloween costumes and there's a fight kicking off mid-set.
Yeah. But a few weeks before that, there had been like a massive gang war at a sort of at another hardcore show. So there had to be an armed policeman at the show, and yeah, that's how that fight got broke up. The guy just pulled his piece, and the fight quickly stopped being a thing. Yeah.
Right, it's like it now. Did you
Pretty
witness that yourself as well? Like,
Playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing. Well, you just stood there like,
Really, I don't know if that's a bad thing or not. I think we carried on playing, but I certainly remember looking up, being like, "What do you do?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. What do you do?
Do you leave it a couple of seconds to see what's going to happen?
To see if anyone fuck around, see if anyone gets shot."
But what I mean, until you sort of in that moment, it was a bit of just like everything sort of seemed to stop for like a few seconds,
right.
And then the fight obviously like dissipated, so there was no reason to step in as such. But
yeah, America's got some intense places like New York. I think I've seen you talk about that before.
For me, that's probably the most violent, intense show we have ever played was in Brooklyn. So
they're all just fucking units as well, aren't they? Like,
yeah. That night, I mean, I remember one guy, like he was like raring himself up before we were even like, we were still setting up and shit. And then as soon as like the feedback kicked in, it was just like he was like slamming his hands like on the stage, like just ready to kill someone. And it was one of these stages that had like steps either side, so
right.
we had like a group of people either side, and then as soon as like the first note hit, he's just got up on stage, thrown Richie over his guitar head, like leathering people to the right of the stage, to the left of the before running over to the other side, starts leathering people on that side.
God.
Just complete chaos.
I need to see if that's the set that's on YouTube, because there is one from when you played New York on YouTube.
Oh, there is. Oh wait, no. Yeah, that might be it.
Yeah.
I have actually find like videos of it. I found like a really bad like phone camera one, but
yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that.
I wish we'd like film that, because that was complete chaos. The promoter, like after the first song, was just like, "You need to calm them down."
Just like, how? What do you want us to do?
I said to him, I was like, "Mate, you've booked Desolated here, mate. Like, you this is what comes with this sort of band." So
yeah,
no, I'm not going to tell him to calm down. And then after the second song, he comes up again. He was like, "Mate, you're really going to need to calm them down." I told you the first time. I was like, I'm not going to fucking tell him to calm down. I was like, fuck off. You know what I mean? Third song.
It's fucking Desolated, mate.
Third song, he comes up and he goes, "You're really going to need him to calm down. The police are outside ready to raid." I was like, all right. But I think I did it in a way, I was like, disrespect each other, don't disrespect the venue. And, that should always be the case.
Yeah.
Don't venues, don't fuck up venues, just fuck each other up.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, as far as anything else crazy, I could tell you actually another story when we were touring through Southeast Asia, and the whole setup over there was like promoters would look after you from like, they'd meet you at the airport or whatever, Minsk airport, and then basically we'd go for food. They'd make sure we checked into the hotels.
So they're like a bit of a guide sort of thing, like.
Kind of, yeah. Sort of, they were our responsibility until they dropped us off.
Right.
This place, but this one guy, because a lot of time you get like internal flights over there. But there's this one guy. He said he takes us to a coach station. So kind of like their equivalent of like National Express, and we were like, all right, okay. And he was like, yeah, you just put your gear, because we'd taken our like guitars and like some of our stuff over. He's like, yeah, just stick your guitars and that at the bottom. And I was like, is that not a bit sketchy? You know, there's some very poor places we're going to be going through, and I didn't want anything getting nicked.
Right.
And he was like, this coach, it's 9 hours, one stop. 9 hours, one stop. And we were like, are you sure? 9 hours, one stop. He's like, 9 hours, one stop. It wasn't 9 hours. It was more like 16.
Fucking hell.
I lost count of how many stops. I think after I counted to 16 or 17.
What?
Like, it was just an insane amount of.
So
Sometimes
you were just full of
coach
shit.
oh yeah, but it was sort of got us on, and then we weren't their problem. But I remember us like stopping, and it was our then drummer. Me and him sort of stayed up for a lot of it before passing out, and then Richie ended up waking up. They wanted Richie to drive the coach at one point, but while he was asleep, I remember one of the stops we got out, and there was a bus next to us with a bullet hole, like, because they had like massive cages on the front,
Right.
and a bullet hole through where the driver would sit.
What the fuck?
It's became more apparent, like, as the journey went on. We were going through the jungle.
Just casually.
They had like, I mean, it was dark, so you know we couldn't actually see it, but roads, we had jungle on one side, and then we had villages on the other side, and you could hear rocks and all sorts being thrown at the coach.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Also, bear in mind that when we got on, everyone was like looking at us, because I guess they're not used to seeing like people like us over there.
Yeah, of course.
So I just remember coming on, and it was like this music you'd expect to hear in like a mosque or something, at believably painful levels, like really, really like high levels. It was like unbearable, but you couldn't tell them to turn it off because they can't understand the fucking word you're talking about.
Right.
So get on, and like this whole experience is like everyone. Picture this scene: we've just dropped the gear off underneath the coach, not feeling too sure about it. Come onto this coach with this painfully loud music. Everyone's staring at us. You know what I mean? Taking our seats. You've got like kids like hiding behind chairs, like looking at us, and that. It was really uncomfortable. But you go with the flow, and then within an hour, if that, of this trip, we stop and see a coach similar to ours with a bullet hole.
What?
And you're like, oh, and then further into the journey, it's like there was people jumping on the coach like without tickets, like it was fucking crazy, like crazy. But it's normal out there. That's just how things go. And they were like, I remember Rich went down because he wanted to smoke a cigarette, because you were supposed to smoke a cigarette down near the driver. Okay. People were just doing it in the back of the bus as well. And he was just like, hey, drive the bus. Do you want to drive? Like, I was just like, hey,
what?
Do you want to go? Like, he was like, I don't want to drive the bus.
What the fuck?
Oh, you should have driven the bus. How cool would that have been?
That would have, yeah.
No, man. I would have like crashed and died or something. But
wait, so you're saying there was like all these bullet holes? See, the first one you saw was like where the driver's seat would be.
Yeah. So these coaches had like massive cages on the front of them, and there was like a bullet hole right by where the driver would have sat.
Right. So do you think people just like fucking shoot the driver and rob the?
Yeah, basically.
What?
Yeah, that basically.
That is fucking mental.
Through some, I mean, like you're in a poor area anyway, but like you're going through like poverty, like you've never, we in England and the Western developed world haven't ever experienced. So
of course.
There is a lot of crime, there's a lot of gangs, and yeah, they'll do whatever they can to stop the coaches to potentially get like whatever's on the coach.
Yeah.
They can. So
Fuck
yeah, that was pretty crazy. That was Yeah, that was a bit of a mental drive.
That is mental. Yeah. What the fuck? That's like just thinking about it, like just through the jungle.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. I'd kill to go back out there again and play some shows.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'd do it again.
100%. Seems like the fans are always so dedicated there.
Yeah. And again, I don't know if it's still the case. Maybe for certain areas, but I remember there's one festival we played while we were out there, and like no one really knew who we were other than the fact that we were from the UK. Mm-hmm. So we were getting like circle pits and shit to us. Like there was so many people at this festival. The back line was, I think, Argos and retailers like that probably sold them. Like the back line was dreadful, but it didn't matter. And yeah, we were being like security escorted to blacked out fucking like Land Rovers or whatever, Jeeps. Like
fucking
people were
celebrity
literally
lifestyle there.
Well, it was quite imposing. Yeah, it was a little bit like that, and like we're just a bunch of fucking idiots from Southampton.
Right. Yeah, that's mental, isn't it?
But over there it was like such a big deal, and they ended like before the show. They got us into this room and were like, basically, you can't leave this room. And we were like, why? They were like, because you'll just be hounded. It's not worth it. You're going to be like, people will just want to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Touch you, take shit off you, all sorts. So we were like, right, okay. So we were in this room with no air conditioning, no fans, no nothing. Again, you get on with it, and like the humidity was like through the roof. So we're all like just like sweating, and we're just like, mate, we need to. The windows like around the room, there was like just full of people just like staring in.
What?
So yeah, it just felt like real like, what the fuck is going on here then? And then they're trying to get through the door. So like the promoter and his mates put like these like metal filing cabinets like up against the door to like stop people from coming in. It was fucking mental. And then after the show, we were escorted. Like as soon as the first song finished, we didn't even have time to like take our shit. It was like someone else did that for us. We were literally like, you know what I mean, like grabbed and escorted to these like blacked out Land Rovers.
That is crazy, isn't it?
This is a bit mental. And then both vehicles went two different ways. As I was getting thrown into this like Land Rover, like there was someone like trying to get in to take pictures and stuff. Like it was crazy, like completely crazy. And yeah, we ended up both going a separate way to the same hotel. But obviously some kids at the show had clocked what hotel we were staying at, and there was like 100 or so of them outside.
What the fuck?
But we were quite happy just to talk to them. Do you know what I mean? Like, we weren't trying to fucking, we're more important than them. Like
yeah.
I quite, you know what I mean? I quite like when, chance of touring and going to new places to talk to the locals and, you know what I mean? Like find some spots to like eat at or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we were more concerned with like maybe us getting robbed or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
or just like hounded by literally hundreds of people at once.
Yeah. But I'm not giving Southeast Asia a great reputation here. I'd do it again.
Well, the fans have a great rep.
Yeah,
that much.
I'll just be like, oh, this happens and this happens. And maybe people are thinking, oh, fuck, going there. But no, do it. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world. And the shows were like really crazy, like really, really crazy.
So was that like a tour or a festival you were doing?
So that was like a tour.
Right. Who were you with on that?
That was just us. We were just doing a tour with ourselves.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's sick then. It's like the people actually like fully coming out to see you and stuff.
Yeah.
That's sick. Right. Should we call an end to this? It's been a good chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Again, thanks for having us on.
Thank you for coming on. You got anything you want to plug? Anything?
www.mlvltd.com.
Get some merch and all the other shit you've got out.
Yeah. As well as that, do expect a new record from Desolated within the next year. And yeah, got working on some other music as well. So
ooh, exciting.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you're on vocals still.
Well, it would be too easy to tell you if I was on something. Let's just add to to the secrecy here. Like,
Okay, yeah, that's exciting. Keep an eye out for that.
but
Right,
yeah,
yeah. Cheers. Thank you for coming on.
pleasure. Thank you once again, mate. And mate, and mate, and mate, and mate, and mate, and mate.